If you ever had to present a speech to a crowd, you know how nerve-wracking it is. The room is completely silent and all eyes are on you. But no matter how nervous you are, you know you have to get through this speech. So you decide to ease the tension in the room. You decide to tell a joke. You tell the joke and nobody laughs. Now you realize you are in for a long night. But you're able to stumble through it. You stumble through the whole speech, which makes you feel great because this is something that you never wanted to do in the first place. So this is the feeling that I want you to ball up. The feeling of accomplishment of something that you really didn't even want to do in the first place. But this is a feeling that a lot of people don't actually get to feel because what we do, we make excuses. We make excuses that we can't do something and we're never able to actually go through that experience and actually succeed. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about excuses and how to get past excuses. So if this is the first time you're here, my name is Jelan Abrams, and this is the Unknown and Talented podcast. So the funny thing about recording this episode today, I was doing all my research. I was basically scripting the outline of this, and I really couldn't figure out what I was going to do for the intro. Like, I really didn't know. I just knew the intro had to be something to hook the audience to make them, kind of stay in and actually listen to this episode. And I was stuck. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to talk about in the intro. I know I want to talk about excuses, but I didn't know what I wanted to actually do for the intro. So you know what I said? I said, you know what? I'm not going to record today. I'm just going to record tomorrow. I'm going to have all day tomorrow to basically get ready to get this intro together because honestly, I'm not prepared. And the longer I sat there, I said, this episode is about excuses, about making excuses and how to get past it. I have to record today, no matter what's going on, because the episode is about getting past the excuses and I'm making an excuse on why I can't record today. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of funny that this is what we're talking about today because I'm just basically now speaking from experience of having an excuse. That's a great excuse. You need a good intro so people could actually listen to your podcast. But I decided that I'm not going to worry about that excuse and get this done anyway. And the intro that I used, I love the intro. If you ain't like the intro, hey, but I love the intro. So the first thing I want to talk about is why we make excuses. Excuses are the easy way out. I think of back when I was a child. I was born in New York. Most of my grandparents, actually all my grandparents, lived in New York. So, we moved to North Carolina at a young age. And every summer I used to go to New York to visit my family. And if you're not familiar with New York is a beautiful place, but it has a lot of bugs, cockroaches, big cockroaches, mice, rats. It's very crazy where the amount of cockroaches and stuff they have in New York. They have, I don't know if it's better now, but back when I was younger, you turn the lights off, you turn the lights on, all the cockroaches scattering. And I wasn't used to that. In North Carolina, we might see, a mouse here and there, but we didn't have these cockroaches like they had in New York. They were crazy. So I remember being at my grandfather's house, and for some reason, downstairs, all the bugs stay downstairs. When you go upstairs, there were no bugs. But it's the funny thing about it, all the houses in New York are like squished together. So you're basically sharing bugs with your neighbors. So no matter how clean your place was, these bugs and mice and rats are going back and forth. So I remember every time I'm downstairs, I'm going to see a mouse, I'm going to see a cockroach. And I said, I'm not going downstairs. I'm going to stay upstairs because I'm terrified to go downstairs. So no matter what's going on, I'm making sure I'm not going downstairs. So I remember one day dinner was ready. I'm starving. All right, come on downstairs, Jelan. We got a bunch of food. And I said, I'm not going downstairs. I'm not even that hungry. And, I'm lying. I'm hungry. I'm starving. But I made an excuse to not go downstairs because I know there are bugs down there. So that might be a little extreme of example, but a lot of times we have situations where we're afraid and we don't want to do things that we need to be doing. Like I needed to be eating, but I said, I'm not going down there because there are bugs down there. And I made a random excuse. Oh, I'm not hungry. It's an excuse to not go down there. And a lot of excuses you make in your life because you might be afraid to do it. So the second reason why we make excuses is the lack of belief. The lack of belief that an action we do is going to get us the result that we want. So what I think of is I think of approaching a woman or approaching a man. Let's say you're a guy, you're approaching a woman, woman approaching a guy. You make an excuse about yourself for why you're not going to go over there because you don't think it's going to work out. You don't believe that the outfit you have on, your hair, your fit is not going to be able to attract that person to want to talk to you, and that's just excuse you make. So let's say you're a guy, you see a pretty girl, and you don't want to go over there because my hair's not cut. End of the day, they probably don't even care about your hair not being cut. They're probably attractive anyway. But you made an easy excuse to say, I'm not going to do it because my hair wasn't cut. So you didn't believe in who you are as a personality to go over there because you're not perfect. Your hair wasn't cut. Your clothes weren't ironed. You're a woman. You didn't get your nails done. Your toes ain't done. So something very minor that you just put in your mind that you're not good enough, and this person is not going to like me because I'm not good enough. So you make an excuse that I'm not going to take this action because my action is not going to give me success because I'm not good enough. And the last reason why we make excuses is because we don't want to take responsibility. So an example of this is you're on a sports team. Most of us were in sports teams in their high school years, middle school years, or if you weren't, you have a child in sports. If no child, you got a family member, you got somebody that was in some kind of sports that you can think of. So all the time, the most things that people complain about is I ain't getting enough playing time. I ain't scoring the ball. I ain't doing this. And instead of blaming yourself, you actually make excuses. You might say, the coach is not giving me enough playing time. The coach is not running plays for me to get the ball. Oh, and his teammate's not passing me the ball. You think of all of these things where you don't take responsibility in yourself that I might have to work on my game. I might have to get better. I might have to do this. But you point the finger at everybody else. So now, instead of putting on yourself to work on being better for yourself, you decide to point everybody out. Think about a job, for example. You don't get a promotion because the boss is a hater. Or instead of thinking that I was late 3 days this week, I was this, I was that. You don't put a responsibility on yourself. You put it on everybody else, and that's not going to help you because pointing a finger at everybody else is not going to change your circumstances. Like it's okay. Okay, all right. You make yourself feel better, but that's not going to do anything for you. You're not going to just saying it's this person's fault. That's not going to help you out because if this person never changes, you're never going to get the outcome that you want. So now for the consequences. So every single day we make excuses. We make excuses about a lot of nonsense that we shouldn't make excuses, but there are consequences for your excuses. We don't just make an excuse and this life goes on. Things are not getting accomplished because we're making an excuse. So one of the main consequences that happen when you are making excuses is that you never actually get to face failure. So failure is a beautiful thing. Failure is actually how you actually achieve success. You have to fail before you succeed. And you have to know how to fail, and then you learn how to actually succeed from failing. So what I want to go back to is the approaching the opposite sex. You see a woman or you see a man that you want to approach, and you go up to them, you talk to them, and they say, nah, I don't want to talk to you ever again. Nah, leave me alone. Yes, at that moment, you might not feel great. You might feel down or feel defeated, but you failed. You tried something, it didn't work. And the good thing about that now is that you learn from that. You probably approached them talking crazy. Oh man, girl, you look so good with your da 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 da. You might have said something wild like that, and it's like people don't want to be approached like that, So you try that a couple of times, that don't work. You try a different approach. Now you're giving a compliment on. I'm not giving y'all no dating advice. Y'all can figure it out your own, but you're giving a compliment on something else, and now you're so comfortable doing it. It's like the chances of you failing is very slim now because you fail so many times. You try so many different things that now it's just supernatural for you. For me, I think every guy had a time where they were just afraid to talk to women, and I definitely had a time like that as well. And basically what I did to kind of get over that is I said, you know what, when I see a woman and she's by herself, I'm going to approach her and just have a conversation and just talk about anything. I'm not even trying to talk to her, trying to get her number. I just want to get into the habit of doing it. So now when the time comes for I find somebody that is attractive and I want to shoot my shot, I've been talking to women all the time that now I'm not afraid to have a conversation. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing because I've been doing this over and over again. And now if they end up failing, okay, now I could just talk about something random again with somebody else. But the thing about it is that you're trying. You're not making an excuse on why, you don't want to do it. You're just doing it. Like Nike says, just do it. So another consequence of making excuses is that it kills your motivation. Everybody started off the new year saying new year, new me. They want to have all these different goals. Right now, you're probably not even thinking about those goals anymore. It's because every day you decided to be a better person and you said, you know what, today I don't feel it. I'm too tired. You made all these different excuses to the point where you don't even do it anymore because you're not motivated to do it. You're not eager to do it because you're not seeing any change because you're not making any action. So every time you make an excuse, you're killing your motivation to actually be that better person. And that leads me to the last thought is you never get to see your potential because you're not doing what you said you wanted to do. Instead of being that better person, you decided to pick excuses. Instead of being the best me possible, you said, I want to be the best excuse maker possible. And now you have all the great excuses that you can, and you never actually reach your potential because you decided to put those excuses over your future, over your goals, over your dreams, over your aspirations. And that's the consequence. The consequence is you're going to have great excuses, but you're not going to have great stories to tell because you didn't succeed at anything because you made an excuse instead of made an effort to become better. I know I said a lot, but this is not an episode to beat you up, to say, man, you making excuses, you suck, you're not good. That's not what this is for. This is just mainly to have you aware of what you're doing because it's so natural to say, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing this. Oh, I was up late last night, I don't want to wake up early, go to the gym. Oh, it's so easy to make excuses. So easy to say, oh, my boss doesn't like me. That's why I'm not getting this raise. My coach don't like me. That's why I'm not getting no playing time. It's so easy to make so many excuses. It comes so natural that we might not be aware that what we're doing is hindering us. And that's what this is. It's more of awareness of what you're doing and actually to be able to avoid doing that. The first thing you will have to do, you have to take responsibility. Instead of out here pointing the finger at everybody, point the finger at yourself. Even when you point the finger at somebody, that's 3 fingers pointed back at you. Look at that. It's your fault. No, it's going to be your fault. It's all these fingers pointed back at you. Where you're at today in life is the sum of the decisions that you made. Every little decision that you made in your life is the reason why you're here right now. Every excuse that you made and you decided not to do something, that's why you're here right now. When I was in college, I was chasing a music producing career and I decided to drop out of college. So right now, I don't have a bachelor's degree because I made a decision that I didn't want to finish college because I wanted to chase my music career. I'm fine with that. That was my decision. In that stage, I was chasing music and that's what I wanted to do. And I'm happy with that decision. I'm not mad that, oh man, I don't have a degree. Oh man, I can't get these certain jobs because I don't have a degree. No, I made that decision in life. I live with it. And now I'm okay now. I'm not blaming, oh man, my parents shouldn't have let me drop out. Oh man, blah, blah. I could put my finger at everybody, but I'm taking responsibility. I did that, and it's okay that I didn't do that because I was still able to get a good job because I didn't make an excuse that I don't have that bachelor's degree. I'm still going to be able to get a good job because of that. And I'm fine with that. So you have to make sure that you're taking responsibility for the things in your life. You made decisions. The decisions is not going to, unless you're in prison for life, you still have chances to change after the decisions you made. Even if you're on prison for life, you still have chances to change it. But I don't think my audience is in jail right now. But but it don't matter what decisions you made, you can always correct those decisions. So don't be afraid to point at yourself and saying, I'm the reason why I'm here, because you are the reason why you're in this situation. But you can always change it, and the only way to change it is by pointing that finger and actually changing who you are. So another way to overcome excuses is to change your mindset, change your belief system. The reason why we think the way we think is because of our environment and people around us. People around us all think a certain way, we're usually gonna think like that as well. So if you're around people that don't think they deserve greatness, they don't think they deserve that big house, that great car, they don't think they deserve that great life, you're gonna kind of put that on yourself as well to think that you don't deserve, what you actually are dreaming for. So you want to make sure that you actually change that belief and actually figure out where that belief came from that made you feel like you're inferior to anybody else or you don't deserve what you're dreaming of. And you have to change that in your life because the belief is where everything actually starts. You're believing that you can be, the best you possible, but you have to really change that environment, change that mindset, get around people that have those mindsets like that, because the mindset of not thinking you're good enough or not thinking that work you're about to put in is going to make your life change, that's a belief. Without having that belief, you're never going to be able to accomplish anything. I think of an example for me. I one time didn't really have the belief that I have now that my life was going to change. I was 29, living with my parents, and my goal was to always have a family. My goal was to have a family, be married, have kids, have a house, all these different things. Those are my goals. So I was 29, living with my parents, and I was talking to this girl, and it didn't work out. And I'm just like, man, I feel like I'm going to be single for the rest of my life, live with my parents, not having a family, because at that point I just felt like I was just so far behind. You see all your friends getting married, getting engaged, starting families, getting children, and it's like, yo, I don't live with my parents and I'm single and I've been single, and I just didn't feel like I was gonna be where I wanted to be in a certain amount of years. I'm like, I'm probably won't get married till like I'm 40, 45, something like that, something really crazy. And I just didn't believe, I just had a really negative mindset of what change I can actually make. And I'm just looking at my life like, how am I going to get out of here? How am I going to go from 29 to being married to, having my kids, having my house? I just felt like I was just so far behind. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So at that time, I had my book business. I was selling books on Amazon, making decent. It wasn't a great amount of money. I was making a decent amount of money, but I put in my mind that it was time for me to grow up. I was listening to Eric Thomas's podcast, the S2S podcast. They were super motivational, just always giving me hope. That's saying, no matter where you're at in life, you can make a change. And that's was something I listened to every single day on the way to work, back home, on the way to my book business, back home from a book business, when I was in the house with headphones. Like, I listened to that podcast from the first episode they ever did to like 100 or whatever. I'm not even sure what they're up to, but I listened to every single episode because it really just pushed my mind to think positively and to think differently. And that's all I listened to. So at that point, I decided to get a job. So I already had my book business, and I decided to get a job. And pretty much the hours were perfect because in the morning time, from like 9 to 12, that's when I go source my books from all the bookstores and stuff. And then after that, I'm just pretty much just chilling for the rest of the day, to be honest with you. So I decided to pick up a job at a warehouse job, 2 to 8. It wasn't even crazy. They were paying me $12 an hour. $12 an hour is crazy. That's slave work. But that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. That's ridiculous. But I did that job. So I started off my day sourcing my books from the bookstores, doing that job, coming home, packing up all my books because it was pretty much selling on Amazon. So I packed up all the books and shipped those things off to Amazon, and that was my day. And I did that for like a good week. And when I got my first check, I was just like, yo, I can't do this. Like, I'm never gonna get out of here. I don't remember what that check was, but it wasn't enough money to actually be able to survive or actually be able to go to the next level of have a house, be able to move out. I'm like, I can't live off of this thing. And I just remember crying in the car, like, this is this is messed up. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I said earlier, I dropped out of college. I don't have a bachelor's degree. All I have is a high school diploma, and I'm like, I can't get no job with this. Like, I'm getting $12 an hour, plus what I'm getting from my business, but that's not enough. And yeah, like I said, I was just crying, and I really didn't know what to do. But I continued to listen to the podcast, try to stay positive, get through it. And I remember one day, the people at the job, they all, like the supervisors and all that stuff, they got everybody together. And what they were saying is that they have this thing, what they call peak season. So that's around like Christmas and everything, where they get an influx of stuff and they need more people to be working. So they said they're gonna move up, the salary to, move up the salary to like $18, because it was like peak season, and they also gave us more money on top of the 12. So it ended up being like $18. I went from like $12 an hour to $18 an hour, and also unlimited overtime. So if you don't know about overtime, you're getting time and a half. And I'm just like, yo, I went from $12 an hour, crying in my car, to now getting paid $18 an hour. And they're saying we get unlimited overtime, which is like time and a half. And I took full advantage of that. I was working like 8 to 12 overtime. So I worked in the morning for my book business. I worked 2 to 12, so I get all that overtime. And then basically 12 o'clock when I got back home, that's when I was back in my books. So I wasn't even sleeping. I was just grinding, grinding, grinding. And then I got to the point where I had like 8 months worth of rent. Ended up being able to move out, get my own apartment, bought my car cash. Yeah, and the rest is history. Like the rest is history. So instead of just making excuses, because it was easy to make excuses, it could easily, the minute I was crying in that car saying, yo, I'm not doing this, this ain't gonna happen, quit that job and just be relaxed and not push it. But I didn't make excuses. I set out. I said $12,000 what I have. I'm gonna do it. Ended up getting blessed with $18 an hour plus unlimited overtime. Ended up changing my life. If y'all didn't know, I'm married now. 3 years later, I'm 32. I was 29 at the time. That's crazy. Got a house, which is crazy. Got a wife again. Like I said, I don't know if y'all can see the ring. Can y'all see the ring? Y'all can see the ring? But it's just me deciding not to make excuses for myself and actually doing what I said I wanted to do ended up changing my life. And I would never think when I was 29 in that car crying that my life would be where it is today. Like never. It's kind of crazy, but it just shows you that your life can change. I'm not saying if you right now you're listening to this, you single and you crying, you can be married in 3 years. I'm not telling you that, but instead of making excuses, make change. So I know that story was cool. It's a beautiful story, but I'm here to help you. I'm not here just to tell y'all my success stories, because I still have a lot more work to do. I almost made an excuse today to record this. So I just want to be able to give y'all steps to be able to get past your excuses. So the first thing you have to do, you have to set goals. So a great thing you can do is you can set a big goal, but then you also want to set small goals so you can accomplish that big goal. So let's say your goal is to travel. You've never been out the country and your goal is to travel. That was your New Year's resolution. It didn't happen. It is cool, but your goal is to travel. So the way you break that down is the ultimate goal. I want to travel. You break it down with your small steps, your small goals. Your first goal, if you want to go out of the country, you don't have a passport, you got to get a passport. So the first thing you do is this week, I'm going to sign up to get a passport. Don't matter how long it's going to take. We don't care. We just need to lead that passport, because without the passport, we cannot travel. Next, what you want to do, you want to study different islands or different places that you want to go. What's the coolest place that you want to go to? Jamaica. I've been to Belize, Aruba. You want to go to Europe. You want to go to Asia. Do research on places that are cool to visit that you wouldn't mind going. Even if you have to go by yourself, especially if you want to go by yourself, research the places that are the best places to go by yourself. Next thing you want to do, you want to research prices, because you're going to need money to go. So research, let's say 6 months down the line, you want to start traveling, research what the plane tickets are going to cost, research what the hotels are going to cost, research what all the activities you want to do, research that and see what that total price is. Then once you get that, now it's the fun part. Now this is you saving up. You're gonna save up for that dream. So you already know the passport's gonna cost a certain amount. You know, the plane tickets, the hotel. Now you're gonna make a savings goal each week, each month, however you want to do it, so you can have enough money. So when that time comes, you're gonna be able to travel. And that's it. That's pretty much all you do. It might be more steps to that, but you want to break down that big goal and make those small goals throughout the way so you can travel. So you're going to say this week, I don't got the money to save. That's an excuse. You're going to have to find that money because the big goal is to travel and you can't get to that big goal without these small steps. So each time you make an excuse that I don't want to sign up today for the passport, I don't want to do no research, I don't want to save money, you're never going to reach that big goal. So hit those small goals because they're going to be very tiny things to do. Get those done without excuses. You're going to finally get that goal that you're going to travel. You was able to do something because you didn't make an excuse. Same thing with losing weight. Everybody wants to lose weight. The big goal is to be down 30 pounds, right? What you're going to do, the first thing, don't even worry about getting a gym membership. We're not getting a gym membership. The first thing you got to do, you have to reflect on what you're doing. Are you eating too much? Are you just sit on the couch, you're not moving enough? Find out what the problem is because that's how you're going to fix it. Find out what that problem is. Then you want to do research on what kind of things you should be eating, how much water you should be drinking. And then you want to, research exercises to lose weight, all that stuff. So the big goal, be down 30 pounds, but you have to do the small steps and you can't make excuses because each thing is, research. That's not hard to do. Eat better, not hard to do. All these things are not hard to do. Don't make excuses. Accomplish these goals. Once you set these goals and accomplish these goals, you're going to look up, instead of down 30, you down 40 because you put that work in. But we're not making excuses. We're going to get set goals, set small goals, accomplish those small goals. And if those small goals don't work, make smaller goals. Make a daily goal, something so you can make sure that you get it done because you're able to really make great excuses. We don't want to make great excuses. We want to set great goals. What you want to do next is you want to find a community. You want to find people that are doing what you want to do. This podcast was great for me. I was able to get a lot of guests on that are entrepreneurs, full-time entrepreneurs. That's something I definitely want to do one day. And I was able to talk to people and how they were able to get to that point where they were full-time entrepreneurs. So you want to do something similar. You don't have to start a podcast to be able to find people that are doing what you want to do. But what you can do, find a community. So let's say you want to be in a real estate market. They're going to have communities where people are killing it in the real estate game. They might charge you $50 a month. So some crazy, so some small amount of money to be in that community. And now you're around a bunch of people that is in real estate. And now you do what they're doing, you're doing. So now instead of saying, I don't know how to get real estate, you got communities of people doing it. You can talk to everybody. And now everybody's mindset is set on doing this real estate. And then now what are you going to do? Your mindset is going to be set on doing the real estate because now you're around people that's actually doing it instead of being around your hometown people who are saying real estate's really not that good. The interest rates are high. This blah, blah, blah. They'll know what they're talking about. You're going to find the people that know what they're talking about. And then now you can be able to accomplish things instead of not accomplish it because you're not around the right people having that right information in you. And the last thing, probably the most important thing, is that you have to speak life into yourself. You have to speak positivity. Every time we make an excuse in this because a lot of times we don't even think we are as good as we're supposed to be. We don't think we deserve what's in our mind. We don't think the vision that God gave us is something that's going to be accomplishable. X that out. The minute God gives you that dream, that means it can happen, but you have to believe in it. If you can see it in your mind, you want to be able to see it in real life. We're not making excuses, okay? But that's what I want to leave you with. Set goals, find a community, speak a life into yourself, and change it. We're not making excuses anymore. Think of that feeling that I talked about in the beginning of the episode where you accomplished something that you never thought you was going to accomplish, or you never felt like you were, capable of doing, and you was able to do it. You can do a lot more, but just ball that energy up, balling that feeling up, and do it. And you could take over the world. Like I said, in 29, I was living with my parents. 32, I have my own house. I'm married. Like I said, can you see the ring? Can you see it? Got a wife, no kids yet, but that'll be on the way. But yeah, my life changed because I decided not to make excuses and just do it. And like I said, I still got work to do. You still got work to do, but we can do it together. But no more excuses. But that's all I have. That's all I have. I've been talking today, so hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully y'all took some notes and y'all actually gonna change your life and not make excuses. But that's all I got. Again, my name is Jelan Abrams. This is Unknown and Talented. If this changed for you and you're actually going to make change, leave a comment. Tell me exactly what you're going to do. You need someone to keep you accountable. You need a community. Leave a comment. There's going to be other people that's going to be doing the same thing. So now y'all can brainstorm together and make sure instead of making these excuses, we're actually setting goals and accomplishing goals. But that's all I got for y'all. Again, I already said my name is Jelan Abrams, Unknown and Talented. See you next week.